Hi everybody, Mrs. Mossey here. Today we're learning about the artist Michel Basquiat. Today we're going to read this beautiful story, Radiant Child by Javaka Steptoe, and it's the story of a young Michel Basquiat. After that, we're going to create a really fun art project inspired by his many beautiful works of art. But until then, 1 second. And go. Okay, here we go. Radiant Child. Somewhere in Brooklyn, between hearts that thump, double Dutch and hopscotch, and salty mouths that slurp sweet ice, a little boy dreams of being a famous artist. In his house, you can tell a serious artist dwells, as he sits at a table with pencils scattered everywhere. Michel draws from morning until night with a serious face amid a storm of papers. He refuses to sleep until he has created a masterpiece. At night, images enchant Michel's mind, and he wakes from his dreams to add one more line. His drawings are not neat or clean, nor does he color inside the lines. They are sloppy, ugly, and sometimes weird, but still beautiful. His art comes from his mother, Matilda, a Puerto Rican woman who designs and sews, cooks and cleans, and makes the house look like a stylish magazine. But most important, she lies on the floor and draws with Michel on his father's old work papers. From her, he learns that art is not only in the poetry books she reads to him or in the theaters and museums they visit. Art is the street games of little children in our style and the words that we speak. It is how the messy patchwork of the city creates new meaning from ordinary things. While visiting the museum, they look at his favorite works of art, reading the story behind each artist, reading the story behind each work. This is how Michel learns what it means to be a famous artist. Back at home, he creates art on the floor as his father Gerard plays jazz records. Mama Matilda cooks arroz con pollo and calls Michel mi amor. The energy and the life of the city can be felt in each line of his drawings. As time goes by, Michel learns that art has a healing power. After a car accident, he is scared and confused. Matilda gives him a book to calm his fears. It is filled with pictures of bones, skulls, and other body parts. Michel draws from it until he knows it all by heart. He is no longer afraid. Back at home, Michel's body heals, but his heart breaks. His mother's mind is not well, and the family breaks. She no longer lies on the floor and draws with Michel, but sits by the window singing only to birds. Michel's confused and filled with a terrible blue when Matilda can no longer live at home. He tries drawing the terrible out of his blues, but things are not the same. As Michel grows older, he visits his mother when he can, always bringing his artwork to show, telling her that one day it will be in a museum when I am a famous artist. A teenager now, Michel decides, Papa, I will be very, very famous one day, with a sly look and a twinkle in his eye. Michel loves Brooklyn for New York City, the Lower East Side, a concrete jungle where only the tough survive. During the day, dressed in a green jumpsuit splattered with paint, Michel stays with friends, sleeping on couches and floors, leaving a barrage of collages and poem-filled papers everywhere he goes. At night, Michel spray paints the walls downtown with poems and drawings that catch the eye of artists, gallery goers, and passerbys. Under his art, he signs his name, Samu. Instead of Michel, everybody wants to know, who is Samu? Samu moves from street corners to art gallery walls with powerful color composition in line, collaging and painting on anything he can find. His art is still not neat or clean, and definitely not inside the lines, but somehow still beautiful. With his magical charm, Jean-Michel draws a crowd, but when it's time to work, he prefers to be alone, with the radio and TV on full blast. Now, in expensive suits splattered with paint, he flips through stacks of magazines and open books, and paints into the night, and sometimes for days at a time, while sounds and images jump into his head. Jean-Michel, an artist among artists, never doubts one line, creating from a soundtrack that is all his own. People describe him as radiant, wild, a genius child. But in his heart, he is king, so he draws crowns for himself and others he admires. A grown man now, with the art world in his hands, Jean-Michel still visits his mother when he can. Above and at his most important shows, above all the critics, fans, and artists he admires, the place of honor is his mother's, a queen on a throne. He is now a famous artist. Well, thanks kids for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Up next, we're going to create our Jean-Michel art projects, so stay tuned. Hi everybody, Mrs. Mossey here again. Hopefully you got a chance to hear me read the story Radiant Child, the life of Jean-Michel Basquiat and how he became one of the greatest artists of our time. Next, we're going to make an art project to accompany this awesome book. So all you will need are some simple things around your house. Hopefully you have a glue stick or one of these glues, the school glues, a pair of scissors, oil pastels or crayons will work as well, a big piece of colored construction paper, any color that you want, and then a piece of black construction paper, okay? Also at the bottom of the screen, you'll see a little PDF that you can download and you can print this out. It's a roll of Basquiat, and you'll also need a die to roll. And if you roll the 1, you would draw this head, 2 this head, 1 this body, eyes, nose, mouth, and so on. And you don't have to do this. I thought it would just be something fun for you to, as an option, okay? Let me show you a couple examples of this as well. Here's one right here, using, again, the cutout of the black here. And then I just went over everything, and I did use the handout for this to decide on the different mouth, nose, and eyes, okay? Here's one with a nice bright yellow background. And you can see what we talked about in the book, how he just went outside the lines, used art as a form of expression. And even though it's really wild and it just looks like scribbles, it definitely has this beautiful feel. And maybe you guys are frustrated about things at home and not getting to be at school or not used to your normal routine. This would be a fun way just to kind of express yourself and do it any way you want, okay? Also, here's another one. And this again is just cutting out that black background any way you want and then going on top of it with crayon or oil pastels, okay? 4. For the body, a 3. Perfect. And then we just cut it out. You can glue whatever side you want it down. I usually like to glue down the side that has the marks on it. Just glue it right onto your colored sheet of paper. Perfect. Now for our third row, we want to get our eyes here. 4. Perfect. 4 is these eyes. Those are super cool. I love those. And you can start with whatever color you want, but I just like to use the white. Let's see, right there. There we go. Perfect. Now our nose, a 4. Let's see, here we go. Last roll for our mouth. Oh, 1. This mouth right here. Perfect. Okay, so now we've got this started. Now we can make any of the marks we wanted to. So we had this body and we want to come in and add all these details. Remember, Basquiat used a Gray's Anatomy book, and that's what inspired him for all these interesting designs and colors. And this is where you can just start adding any of the marks you want. You could do the hair coming out, anything that you wanted. Just kind of feel free to just start using any marks that you want. Get out all your colors and just let loose. Pick any colors you want. I also like to look at this little handout and add some more of these mouths and eyes and noses just in the background. Like, look at this fun mouth. It starts off as a big C, comes around like that, and we've got these big teeth. That's kind of fun. Just color it in. You can just add these noses, whatever inspires you. Whatever you think is something fun and different. And just adding all of this color for expression on here. It's all about art as therapy and having fun and getting wild. Channeling your inner Basquiat and just letting it go. Getting crazy in there, choosing whatever colors inspire you, whatever looks kind of cool. You can use your analogous colors, the colors that are similar here, all of our analogous colors, complementary colors, remember the opposite on the color wheel, any of these colors that you want. This is your art and you can create it however you like, whatever feels good to you. With these, most of mine, I did add some black around. I thought that was kind of neat. So you can come back in and add some more of that black. Basquiat would put letters in here. He would often do crowns. That was kind of his signature. When he was doing lots of graffiti in New York, he would sign with Samu, and he would do lots of king and queen symbols, crowns all over his art. So by creating yours, this is your nod to Jean-Michel Basquiat. I'm going to keep adding colors here and going nuts and having fun. But I'll probably stop right here. Oh, I can't stop. I'm just having too much fun. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed it and your masterpiece is awesome too. Have a good one.